I still remember the first dawn when I stood upon the plateau of Giza, the desert wind biting into my face, the sand trembling beneath the endless procession of men. A caravan stretched further than my eyes could follow. Stonecutters, haulers, priests, and scribes, each bearing their weight of destiny. Before us rose nothing but dust, yet in my chest I felt the stirrings of awe and terror. For here we were to build a mountain of stone not for ourselves, but for eternity. I knew even then that what we began would outlast flesh, outlast kingdoms, outlast the turning of the stars themselves. I was young then, little more than a scribe in training. My father, who had copied hymns in the house of life, had sent me here to serve the overseers with ink and reed, not rope and sweat. But when I first pressed my hand to the rough limestone block, when I smelled its raw dust, I felt as if the gods themselves had set me upon this path. Many in distant lands will tell lies, that slaves, chained and beaten, raised these stones. Yet I swear upon Ra's blazing eye, much of this work was done by free men, farmers who left their fields during the flood season, craftsmen who dreamed of glory, and youths like myself who believed we served in a sacred task. We were not merely building a tomb, we were raising a ladder of eternity for Khufu, the god-king who would ascend among the stars. The overseers spoke often of the Ake, the horizon, and how the shape itself mirrored the first mound of creation that rose from the primordial waters. Each block we dragged was not stone alone, but a piece of that first rising, a reminder of order forged from chaos. And we believed. Oh, how we believed. Still, belief did not still the pain. The ropes burned our palms, the sleds groaned, the ramps devoured our strength. I watched men fall under the weight, bones breaking like twigs. Their cries haunted the night. Yet in the morning the chants of the priests rose louder, drowning sorrow with hymns. Once, when I carried papyri to the encampment of the priests, I met the high priest of Khnum. His eyes were dark pools, reflecting firelight but no mercy. He said to me, "Do you know why we build so high, boy?" "To honor the king," I answered. "No," he whispered, leaning closer. "We build to touch the sky, to wound it if we must. The gods must hear us or fear us." His words froze me. That night I lay awake, wondering whether we were serving divinity or challenging it. It was during those nights of restlessness that I first heard the whispers. Stories passed between tired men huddled around faint fires. They spoke of the Golden Ark of Knowledge, a chest said to hold the wisdom of ages older than Egypt itself. Some swore it had been brought from the lands before the flood, a relic of gods or giants. Others claimed it contained writings no mortal could read, maps of the stars and secrets of stone stronger than iron. The tale said the priests would bury it deep within hidden chambers, beyond where even the king's body would rest. It would remain sealed until the day the gods returned, or until the stars themselves fell. I laughed at first, yet when I looked into the stern eyes of the high priests, when I saw the way they lingered near the foundation shafts, I wondered if it were not mere story but forbidden truth. In the quarries of Tura, I watched men cut limestone with copper chisels, the air ringing with metallic despair. Yet not all blocks came from quarry. Some, smooth, uniform, unyielding, seemed born not of hammer but of craft. Rumors spread that the high architects had learned a secret, to mix stone from powders and water, to cast blocks as a potter casts clay. Was this knowledge a gift of Thoth, keeper of hidden arts? One old mason, his skin like leather, told me, "These are stones not carved but made, stones that remember the hands that shaped them." He spat dust and looked away. I did not know whether to fear or marvel. The overseers sometimes demanded that we work beneath the stars, hauling blocks by torchlight when the air was cooler. The sight was terrifying and beautiful. Hundreds of men glowing like fireflies across the ramp, their chants merging into one endless hum. The desert wind carried sparks into the sky, as though stars themselves had descended to watch us labor. On such nights I felt the weight of eternity pressing not only on my back but on my soul. We were no longer men but shadows, faceless and eternal, moving stones as though guided by the hand of an unseen power. I was once summoned by a priest to carry scrolls into the foundation shafts. The air there was heavy, filled with the smell of earth older than memory. Narrow corridors twisted downward, where oil lamps flickered against walls lined with symbols not taught in any school of scribes. The priest pressed a finger to his lips. "Do not speak of what you see," he warned. I glimpsed a chamber half filled with sand, its walls inlaid with faint stars carved in stone. Another chamber stood empty, yet its ceiling was higher than any hall above ground. They said these were not for men, but for spirits, the hidden paths the soul of the king would walk in silence. But there were darker tales, too, of workers who vanished in the depths, swallowed by passages that led nowhere or everywhere. Some whispered that the priests walled them in alive, sacrifices to guard the secret. And sometimes, when the wind moaned through unfinished corridors, it sounded like their muffled cries. Each night, when the heat withdrew, I lay upon the plateau and watched the heavens. The priests spoke of Orion, Osiris himself, whose belt aligned with the shafts we carved. They told us that when the king's spirit left his body, it would fly through those passages, guided by the light of Sirius, the star of Isis. "See how the stones point?" they whispered. "Not to earth, but to eternity." And so we labored with precision beyond imagination. Every angle, every orientation was checked against the heavens. Some said the pyramid itself was a map, a mirror of the stars upon earth, so that the gods above would know we too sought order in the desert of chaos. Yet for all the hymns, for all the chants, I could not silence a darker thought. What if this monument was not only for the king's soul, but a cage for something else? What if the hidden chambers were prisons for forces too great to walk free? One night, after long hours of hauling, a fellow worker named Menkora spoke to me. "Do you not hear it?" he asked. "Hear what?" "The stones. They groan as if alive. They remember every hand, every drop of blood spilled upon them. One day they will speak, louder than our voices." I laughed uneasily, but I too had heard it. The deep hum that trembled when hundreds of men pulled a block in unison, as if the pyramid itself sang. As years passed, darker stories spread among us. Some claimed the pyramid was not a tomb, nor a ladder, but a weapon, a great vessel of power, tuned to the stars, meant to call down fire from the heavens. The priests did not deny it, they only smiled when asked. I wondered then if Khufu sought not only to join the gods, but to rival them. Years passed like grains of sand through a clenched fist. My back bent, my skin hardened, my hands grew calloused. I recorded the numbers of blocks, the lists of rations, the names of the fallen. Too many names. And yet, for each death, another man arrived, eager to take his place. For the dream of eternity was greater than the fear of death. I never married. I never saw my village again. My life was consumed by stone and dust. And still the pyramid rose, tier upon tier, until it cast its shadow like the hand of a god across the Nile. Now, as I write these words by the flicker of an oil lamp, I feel my years weighing heavier than the blocks I once pulled. I know I will not see the pyramid finished. Perhaps my bones will rest beneath the sand before the last stone is set. Yet strangely, this does not sadden me. For when I touch the limestone, when I press my palm against its cool face, I feel my essence drawn into it. My sweat, my breath, my unspoken prayers, all are sealed within. Long after my name is forgotten, long after the kingdom of Khufu itself crumbles, the pyramid will stand. And though no one will know me, though no one will whisper my name, I will be there, within the bones of the mountain, in every block that points to the stars. And perhaps, when the soul of the king ascends, mine shall follow in silence, carried upward upon the stone ladder to Orion's eternal belt.